It's all yours, Elaine.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is a meeting of the 95 Lawrence Road Task Force and Evaluation Committee. We're meeting on Zoom. The meeting is being recorded. And we're all here except for Jan is away. First on our agenda is the report on reference calls and site visits. Olga did hear from one other POA reference. So Olga, could you share that with us?
Let me close the door. I don't know if that helps any. He actually emailed again, but I will give you his first message after I requested, he had no phone number. So, Olga, so sorry, but I missed your email until tonight. And this is 3 a.m. this morning. If there is still time for me to talk to you about POA, I would be happy to do so. I would recommend them highly. Their staff is very dedicated and hardworking, and their experience is unmatched in Massachusetts, both in development skills and for property management over the long-term life of their properties. You could not do better if you select POA. If you want to talk further, you can reach me at, and then he gave his phone number. And then when I told him, thanks, I think we have enough, he said, okay, but I'm happy to help if you change your mind. One more thing I should mention regarding our 950 Falmouth Road project, and now, I've forgotten which one that is. POA did not slow down one iota in the midst of the pandemic this past year. Their relationships with the state, DHCD, are excellent and have done everything they possibly can to secure state funding this fall, 1 year ahead of our initial expectations. If they get funded, they will break ground in mid-2022, less than 2.5 years after signing their development agreement with us. The Selectmen and the Affordable Housing Trust, which he is from, are very pleased with the way they have pursued the development phase. That's it.
All right, thank you. So that leads us to, we've gotten all our general references in, and that leads us to the calling the financial references. I did speak with Laura on Monday, and she sent a list of questions to use for calling the financial references. And I will send that out to everyone. I don't know if, Harry, can you just share those briefly?
Yes, I can. I'd also note Rich Pauley is on the call, and I don't know if you want to give him a chance to offer any comments he may have before we do that.
Sure, that would be wonderful. Hi, Rich.
Good morning, everyone.
How are you?
Good. I was just in on the call just for a little more background and try to get up to speed with where you guys are. So I'll try to stay quiet.
Okay, well, thank you for your email. We did share that with everyone at our last meeting and appreciate it. And know you've got your eyes out on it.
Okay, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we can, let me just summarize, Rich, for you very quickly where we are. We have started our evaluation of the 3 proposals. We have called general references. We're about to call financial references. We've made some site visits. We have one more coming up. And we've done a preliminary evaluation of the first 5 criteria in the evaluation listing, which we will be digging into a little bit deeper in the next week or 2. And we've finally been able to enlist someone to review the financial pro formas for us. So we're getting close. Okay, so we have the financial references to contact next. And wanted to share the questions that Laura sent to use. It's kind of small, I know. So these are the questions that we will ask their financial references. How long has the developer been a customer? Are they a borrower, depositor, or both? If borrower, how many loans do they have with the bank agency? Would you lend to them again? Is their banking relationship satisfactory? Ever any defaults? Are they currently in good standing? So I wanted to check with those of you that already called the regular references. Kathleen, if you are comfortable calling this the two Civico financial references with these questions. Kathleen?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Are you?
Yeah, I can do that. I'm a little maxed out right now, but I'll put it on my list.
Mhm. I think we're looking for, responses by the October 1st meeting that we have scheduled, which gives a bit
Give
of
me a little
time.
bit of a window,
Mhm.
and you'll send this information along or leave it at town hall.
I'll certainly email these questions to you, and you still have the list of all the references that I dropped
Yeah,
off.
somewhere I do here, Elaine. Yeah,
Okay, I'll confirm it with you, everything.
thank you.
Mhm. And Olga, you had done POA, or would you be comfortable calling the POA financial reference?
I would, but I'm wondering why we don't mix it up a little bit rather than having,
Okay.
each of us doing the same.
Right,
It's just, suppose there's some prejudice one way or the other. And maybe some other people would like to do it who are more financially, or less challenged financially.
yeah. Well, I should have mentioned that first. I was wondering about that. I don't know if anybody else out there would like to take on some of this. We will need somebody for community builders. Jan had done the general references, but she is not here. Is there someone that would be willing to call the community builders one financial reference that was listed? I can't see everybody.
If you
Anybody?
want me to, I can, Elaine.
That would be great, Gary. I'll send you that information and the questions.
Okay.
Mhm. And so Olga, it sounds like you would be happy if somebody else did POA.
Yeah, just spread it around. But if not, I'll do it.
Mhm.
And I don't think I'm financially challenged, but just some of you have more
Yeah,
experience.
the only financial reference that they actually listed was for Canal Bluffs for someone from Boston Financial Investment Management. I mean, for both POA and TCB, there were a lot of letters of interest in their proposals. And then we also received two for Civico. So we have that as background too, but Laura definitely supported calling these financial references. Okay, so Olga, you will do that one?
Sure. TCB or POA? You're saying swap it?
Gary's going to do TCB,
Okay,
and if you would do POA.
sure.
Kathleen, are you comfortable, or would you like to give up your duty?
No, I'll continue.
Okay. So right now, we don't have another meeting scheduled until October 1st. So that would be the deadline for hearing from these folks. And, I would encourage everybody to look through the proposals again and the letters of interest that we received also, which is great. In terms of site visit, in my discussion, Gary?
Yeah, before we leave the financial questions, any status on a I think many of these questions would normally be taken by the consultant who's doing the financial analysis, but I just wondered if we have an update on on finding that. And if we don't, and we have an October deadline, what's our strategy?
Mhm. We do have, Becky,
I'm actually doing the contract for that today,
Oh, good.
with Emily. So I don't know if in the scope of services we had that she'd be doing the references.
No,
no,
we
I don't
did
believe we
not.
did, right?
We did not.
I didn't think so. Okay. So, I mean, that would take up more of her time, which is hourly, and the hourly rate that she gave us looks like it was the maximum amount that we're spending.
Mhm.
Yeah, and when I just talked with her, I had a discussion with her right after the Friday meeting. And of course, I have hot dogs on the grill, and my granddaughter has dumped over a pile of coffee grounds, and I'm standing in the middle of this, trying to conduct a conversation with a professional. It was really kind of hilarious. But she did say that she was really very jammed up, and I got the impression that she really was doing this as an accommodation to us rather than as something to fill out her schedule. So I'd be reluctant to ask her to do more than just look at the pro formas and tell us whether they are realistic or flights of imagination, which is really what we need to know. Second thing on that is she spoke in terms of the middle of October, which is the best that she could do. I know I had an email with Ryan Curley on some trust business, and he had indicated that if we were ready, he would pencil us into the select board meeting for October 12th. I probably need to get back to him and tell him that we're really not going to be ready until the October 26th select board meeting, because it doesn't sound like we'll be done with Emily before after October 12th.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I really hate thinking of taking it to the 26th. I don't know.
Also, I won't be here on the 26th, so somebody else will get to explain to the select board what a comprehensive and thorough job we've done.
Yeah.
I just want to add really quick while we're on that subject about the date is that Emily is wanting to ask the developers questions, she wants additional information from them. So I've been actually combing over the law to make sure that that is okay to ask them the additional questions. Obviously she has to ask them each the same question, because typically, and I think Laura mentioned it, we're really only allowed to evaluate based on what they submitted. But I think I may have found somewhat of a loophole. I've been reading it for the last 45 minutes, so I don't want to speak without knowing for a fact. So that's why I kind of haven't sent her the final contract, because I just want to make sure that by her asking the additional questions of the developers, that is a legal thing to do. Because so far I feel like we've been doing things by the book and correctly and been transparent with everybody, and I want to keep on that path.
Yeah, I think we want to do everything possible to support Emily in doing this, but Laura did stress that it's really just an assessment of the reasonableness of the proposal.
Correct.
Based on what was in the proposal. It's not,
Yeah.
Because the proposal is still conceptual in a way.
Yeah.
It's really looking just to see if it's reasonable and not,
Yeah, you described it perfectly. And she's asking for Excel sheets and different I mean, you can give somebody a time limit to submit that information, but everything just going to keep getting pushed down further and further. So if we planned on October 26th, I mean, here we are, September 22nd. If we get her contracted by Friday, which is my hope that we have all the signatures, she can start work on Monday. That's, where I'm at timeline with that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really do want to support her. And I know she's a consummate professional, but just to make sure that it's on the level that we need at this point,
Yeah. Her resume was impressive.
Yeah.
It was.
Right. Yes. And I agree that I think she is doing this really to help us out under the situation. And I do want to support her, but I do also want to make sure that it doesn't have to go farther than it needs to go.
Yeah, the RFP does say that we'll make the decision based on the submissions and any other information developed by the town. So if the law allows us to do it, we've built that flexibility in the RFP. So there are two boxes we have to check, and we don't.
And I suspect that she's the professional and has the experience. And if this is the standard procedure, it probably is in keeping with the law, but we could also double check with.
Well, there's a couple of different roles, Gary. If she's, for example, if you're engaged by a financing outfit to evaluate a loan application, you're going to ask different questions than you are if you're looking at a development proposal and saying, do these numbers objectively make sense for a development of this size in this location, which is really kind of the question that we need to have answered. You're going to ask a lot more questions and a lot more searching questions if you're going to commit, $15 million worth of financing to a project. That's a different set of questions.
Right. Kathleen?
Yeah, for the purpose of maybe the rest of the committee, could you please introduce Emily to us and how we were, so provident in finding somebody because we had been looking for a while.
I think it was thanks to Olga.
Yeah, Olga gets the credit for identifying Emily, and I can pop her response up with her resume if anyone wants to see it. It's several pages long and very impressive.
We could also invite her to the October 1st meeting, just for.
She was at our last meeting and did introduce herself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Emily.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you very much for the
And that-
clarification. I had no idea who you were talking about.
I didn't either at the time.
Yeah, that was Emily who did attend the last meeting and then did introduce herself and hadn't decided at that moment, but I think we're very fortunate that she was willing to do
Right.
this.
And I think she has a home in Wellfleet.
Yes, yeah, yeah. We want it to be easy on her, so that's how that came about.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, but going back to this date, is it unrealistic to shoot for October 12th, but change to the 26th if we have to, or do we just have to agree the 26th is?
My opinion, Elaine, is that where we've, it's really up to this individual, Emily, to, to do due diligence with regard to the financial performance. But so I would give her the opportunity to take the time that she needs. If it's the 26th, it's the 26th. Is really, our hands are kind of, it's all in her court right now. So.
Yeah, and it's close but tight. So I think that may be where we're going to have to head.
I don't know how anybody else feels.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Any other thoughts about that? Gary?
Well, to meet the requirement, I think we'd have to have our recommendation to the select board by the 7th, Thursday, the 7th, Elaine. So the question is, really, I don't mind if we say we're aspiring for that, but we're realistic if it will go to the next meeting. But it's really dependent upon that financial analysis, I think, at this point.
Right.
We'd have to meet sometime on the 7th if we got the information and then make a determination.
I think by our October 1st meeting, we will pretty much have, by the end of that meeting, we'll have covered everything except the potential financial analysis if we don't have it yet. So once we could, we'd be close and could work up some preliminary information for the select board, but it does sound like waiting till October 26th is the safer thing to do.
Well, can we say, based upon that and based upon Emily's response, that we can evaluate on the 1st, whether we can meet that date or not?
Yeah, I'd like to do that if that's
Yeah,
okay
sure.
with everybody. Okay. All right. In terms of site visit, we are going to do a site visit to Lincoln on Monday morning. I think there's room for one other person. Laura highly recommended that we do visit at least one site from every proposer. So I do feel like that's a very important thing to do. And Kathleen and I are committed to going. Is there anybody else that would like to go? Probably leaving it about 9:30 on Monday morning and just going to Lincoln and back. You can let me know. I'm confirming that this afternoon with Civico, what time and everything, but we will do it, and then we will have those all complete too. That I don't know that we can do anything more on the evaluation criteria. We did a pretty full analysis of what we could at our last meeting. These were the points that I wanted to hit today. And then October 1st, I'd love to see us finish every category except the financial feasibility if that's not ready, and we will be very close. Does anybody have anything this morning on what we did on the evaluation criteria last meeting that they wanted to revisit? Okay.
I'm sorry, Elaine, what time is it on the 1st?
We are meeting, we're scheduled to meet at 9 a.m. on October 1st. I don't, Richard or John, did you have any questions or comments you'd like to ask this morning?
No, I'm good. I'm just listening in for right now.
Okay. For those of you that don't know John, he's a member of the Open Space Committee.
I'm with the Open Space Committee and I'm liaison to Gary's Housing Committee.
The partnership.
Partnership.
Wonderful. Jim?
Believe, and Rebecca, you may remember this as well. I believe we have a bidders review for the water main project on the 1st at 9 a.m.
Oh, okay.
You might be right. Want me to check it quick while we're,
I'm pretty sure that's the date and the time was 9 a.m. I don't know that it'll be that long, but
let me
Yeah.
check it while you guys move forward and I'll chime back in.
We had picked that date quite a while ago, hoping we would have the financial pro forma evaluation by then, but we can definitely change that time or date if we have to. It's probably too soon to be on the town calendar, huh?
It was in the RFP.
Jim, is this for the water main or the other one?
For the water main.
Okay, I'm looking in the right one. Hang on, I think I'm almost there then. I just want to make sure. Because they're both going on at the same time. I can't keep up with
Right.
it all.
I just recall it's on Briar Lane. We're scheduled to meet.
Harry, I just wanted to review last time you found how long how long the developers' proposals were open. Was that more than 90 days? Was it
Yeah,
120?
I think the RFP, at least the copy I have, which I think is a draft, not the final, said 90 days. So 90 days from 120 days, I'm sorry, 120 days from August 2nd is really September, October, December, like December 1st or November 30th.
Okay.
Um,
So if we bring a recommendation to the select board on October 26th, we're well within.
I think so, yeah.
Elaine, while we have a little bit of time, Gary forwarded a few questions that I had. I've actually, I went back through the POA proposal and read the fine print, so I can answer two of those questions. One of which was who POA's property manager would be for the Wellfleet project, and that is listed in their proposal as Midland Property Management. I forget what page it's on. My other question was with regard to the community space in the POA proposal. Would it be available or open to the larger community? In their proposal, they're prescribing that that community space is just for the residents of the housing, not the greater community of the town. And I think I had a third question, which really is going to remain in the hands of the ZBA when they go forward for the comprehensive 40B permit. They're going to be grappling with some issues with the POA proposal, but so I really, questions kind of mute at this point, but.
Well, actually, I did have that list of questions that Gary had mentioned at the end of last meeting, and had a brief conversation with Laura about some of those things. And most of them are like smoking and pets are a management issue. We didn't put anything about that in our RFP, but so pretty much every development now is non-smoking, and management has a policy about pets. They all wire for Wi-Fi. Laura said it didn't matter whether they said utilities were included or not. It doesn't really make a difference to us about that. And that if they proposed a heat pump system, that does include air conditioning. So she felt that those questions were, some of them were for management, or a little more discussion maybe when we go for the LDA and something else there. And the marketing plan might involve some of those management questions that we could have a say in. But I think we have pretty much asked all the questions that we can at this point, and are evaluating on what's in the proposal and what we've learned. Any luck, Becky?
No, I don't have that one. I have the other
Yeah,
RFP.
I'm just opening it up now.
Oops. I didn't mean to raise my
I would
hand.
say that if there was any way that we could move the meeting until 10, then I think that would probably be sufficient time for us to,
Do a bid review?
it's really not a bid review, it's just to be there to meet with any potential bidders on this.
Okay. 10 a.m. work for people on October 1st?
Yeah,
Becky,
What time?
10 a.m. on October 1st for the task force?
Yeah, 1 second. I'm good.
Okay. May have posted that already. I'll change it. I think I haven't yet, though. Any other comments related to anything else on the agenda today? Okay, please do let me know if you're willing to take a ride to Lincoln. And I will send Gary and Olga and Kathleen, just confirm the financial questions and who to call. And
Oh, Becky, you want our notes, is that right?
Yeah, so when I was reading about the evaluation, I haven't read any of Rebecca's minutes, so I'm not sure how detailed they are with our reasons for each of our ratings, but it is required that we keep those on file. We have to have written reasons for why we're choosing the composite ratings that we are. So I figured the easiest way to do that would be, I'm assuming you all took your own ratings ahead of time and you had reasons for why you did that. Hopefully you wrote down most of the reasons.
mhm.
If you didn't, if you could just add a note, just a 1-line sentence note, nothing, doesn't have to be anything crazy. That way there I can just keep it all in the procurement file for why we came to the conclusion that we did.
Mhm.
Harry's laughing.
Well, I have 16 pages of handwritten notes plus
That's okay,
the
just send
three-
them. We don't need,
three
I don't
sets
need it
of
to be,
evaluation criteria with notes on them. You're welcome to all of them.
yeah, just scan them in and send them to me. You don't have to, that's why I said that in my email. You don't have to get crazy, super organized. It could be handwritten, it can be little notes, whatever they are. They're all going in a file for, the procurement reasons, and in case anybody wants to see them, I have them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right, and we certainly will have to develop once we finished, a very good analysis. For
Yeah.
the Select board.
Exactly, yeah, which we will, but we do need the notes for each one. And also it says if you are evaluating as a group, I need everybody's ratings for the file as well.
Okay, by name, I mean, showing by name.
Yeah, so your name, sorry, someone's knocking on my door.
Mhm.
Hang on 1 second. If for someone's name, or I just lost my train of thought.
Mhm.
So yes, your name should be on each of your evaluations.
Okay.
Okay, Harry, would you want each of us to send you? I mean, I know you have the accumulated from our last meeting, but each of us could send you our, or
No, that-
me, I mean, I'm happy to do this too, but I mean, if you want to send all your notes, that's great, but
Yeah, that's fine. See, I did not, as I was keeping track of this, keep track of who voted where. So if I have 7 of you, I can figure out what Jan's vote was by eliminating the others.
mhm. So could each of us look back over what we did on our last meeting and send our ratings?
Or I can listen to hours of video.
Yeah, I think each of us could pretty easily, I hope, send you that info. I might have it more or less. I sort of marked down the ones that were different when we were all in a group, but
Mhm.
could I ask everybody to do that as best you can? Super
Yeah,
code.
that was, let's see here.
Harry, could you put that up and I'm a little unclear what it is you want us to do, but you had compiled the votes.
I did, yes.
And what do you want us? you want
I
us to
think
have
what
those or just-
Becky, I think Becky was asking for the initial votes on, the individual votes on the criteria.
So Gary, you would like, for Civico, you would say, I rated developer experience an A or an H, which rating you gave each category for each developer.
And just for the broad category, not for the individual.
The 5 categories that we did.
Okay, and that's not in the information that Harry had provided.
It's not
No,
on here.
You have just the total, not the individuals.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had just collected how many unsatisfactory, acceptable, highly acceptable votes there were for each of the categories that we evaluated them on. I didn't keep track of who voted how.
Okay,
So that Becky's saying she needs that information. So Harry, do you mind if we send it to you or?
Oh, not at all.
Okay, thank you
So
so much.
Elaine, I'm just gonna drop my sheets off.
Okay,
I have a sheet for each proposal. Seeing as I'm not savvy to send anything, but
You can do
Um,
that, Kathleen. I said that in my email or drop. I want to make it easy for you guys. So
yeah.
whatever,
So
however
I'll
you
just
get me the
drop my sheets
information.
off. I'll have a TCB, Civico, and POA, and how I scored with my name on it. Thank you. Not complicated.
Mhm.
Yep.
I mean, I will, we'll do it again when we're finalizing it, and we'll keep that record as we do it on that, when we have that meeting too, for the final with each of our ratings and then our group rating. Okay, well, we have some homework then. Any other questions? All right, well, we will reconvene on October 1st at 10 o'clock and go back to those evaluation sheets and carry on.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop the recording.